My mother called me at 11:30 on a Thursday night. I was already in bed, halfway through an audiobook, trying to forget about the quarterly reports I'd spent 14 hours finalizing. The phone lit up the dark room. Mom. Cell. I almost didn't answer. Maya, she said, and I could hear that particular tremor in her voice. The one that meant something had happened with Ethan. Again. Maya, are you awake? I sat up. What happened? It's your brother. There's been a situation at his apartment. The landlord called us. He's threatening eviction, and Ethan isn't answering his phone, and your father and we're just so worried, and I know it's late, but you're only 20 minutes from him, and… What did he do this time? Maya. Her voice sharpened. Don't say it like that. He's struggling. You know how hard things have been for him since he left that job. He'd been fired from that job. For not showing up. For the third time in 2 years. But I didn't say that. What does the landlord want? I don't know all the details. Something about noise complaints and… I think there might be damage? But you know how landlords can be, they exaggerate everything, and Ethan's probably just overwhelmed and not handling his phone well right now. How much does he need? There was a pause. A long one. We don't know yet. But could you go over there? Just check on him? Make sure he's okay? We'd come ourselves, but it's such a long drive at this hour, and you're so much closer, and you've always been so good with these things. I looked at the clock. 11:34. I had a 7 a.m. meeting. I'd need to shower, dress professionally, print copies of the presentation. I'd planned to wake up at 5:30. I'll go, I said. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. You're such a good sister. I don't know what we'd do without you. She hung up before I could say anything else. I sat there in the dark for a moment, phone still in my hand, warm from the call. Outside my window, I could hear the distant sound of the highway, the occasional car passing on the street below. Normal sounds. The sounds of people living normal lives, sleeping normal amounts, not driving across town at midnight to fix problems they didn't create. I got dressed. Ethan's apartment complex was the kind of place that looked fine in photos, but revealed its true nature after dark. Flickering exterior lights. A gate that was supposed to require a code but hung permanently open. Cigarette butts collected in the corners of the breezeway like autumn leaves. His apartment was on the second floor, number 214. The door had a dent near the handle, old damage, poorly painted over. I could hear his television through the door. Some action movie, volume cranked high enough that I could make out individual lines of dialogue. I knocked. Nothing. I knocked harder. Called his name. The television volume lowered. Footsteps. The door opened about 6 inches, chains still engaged, and Ethan's face appeared in the gap. 28 years old, and he still looked like a teenager who'd just woken up, hair sticking up on one side, eyes unfocused. Maya? What are you doing here? Mom called me. Said your landlord's threatening eviction. He blinked at me. Processing. Oh. Yeah. That? Can I come in? He looked behind him, into the apartment, like he was checking if it was presentable. Then he closed the door, unhooked the chain, and opened it wider. The apartment smelled like old takeout and something chemical I couldn't identify. The living room was a disaster zone of pizza boxes, energy drink cans, gaming equipment, clothes draped over every surface. The coffee table had a crack running diagonally across it, held together with packing tape. Ethan. I know. I've been meaning to clean. I've just been really busy with. What did the landlord say? He moved some laundry off the couch, gestured for me to sit. I remained standing. It's not a big deal. Just some noise complaints from the downstairs neighbor. She's super sensitive, like, I have friends over sometimes and she acts like we're having rages. And then there was this thing with the bathroom sink, but that wasn't even my fault. The pipes here are ancient. How much do you owe? His expression shifted. Defensive. Why does it always have to be about money with you? Because Mom said the landlord called them. Landlords don't call parents about noise complaints. They call about money. He sat down on the couch, picked at a loose thread on his jeans. I'm a little behind on rent. Like, 2 months. But I've got a job interview next week, and once that comes through. 2 months. It's temporary. I've had a lot of expenses. What expenses? He gestured vaguely at the massive television mounted on the wall, the gaming console underneath it, the expensive headphones draped over the armrest. All purchases I didn't remember him owning 3 months ago. I felt something in my chest tighten. Not anger. Not even frustration. Just this familiar, heavy weight. Like putting on a coat I'd worn so many times it had molded to my shoulders. How much is rent? $12.50. So, $2,500 total, plus the late fees, so probably like $2,800? But I'm going to pay them. I just need a little time. $2,800. I made good money. I'd worked hard for years, climbed carefully, saved carefully, built a life that felt stable and secure. I had savings. I could absorb $2,800 without breaking my budget. But that wasn't the point. Have you talked to Mom and Dad about this? They've been helping out a little. But you know how they are about money. They stress out over everything. They stress out because they're retired. Because they're on a fixed income. Because they've already given him thousands over the years. Ethan, you can't keep doing this. I know. He said it quickly, reflexively. The way you say something you've said before. Many times. I know, and I'm going to figure it out. I just need to get past this rough patch. What happened to the job at the warehouse? That wasn't a good fit. What about the one before that? Maya, come on. Don't do this. Do what? The judgment thing. The disappointed older sister thing. I looked at him. Really looked at him. My younger brother. The baby of the family. The one who'd always been able to smile his way out of consequences, who'd learned early that someone would always catch him if he fell. I'm not judging you, I said quietly. I'm asking what happened. It doesn't matter what happened. Those jobs weren't right for me. I'm figuring out what I actually want to do with my life, and that takes time, and I'm sorry if I'm not on your perfect timeline. This isn't about a timeline. Then what's it about? I didn't have a good answer for that. Or I had too many answers. All of them tangled up with years of history I didn't know how to articulate at midnight in his disaster of an apartment. I'll talk to the landlord, I said finally. Relief flooded his face. Really? I'll see what I can do. But Ethan, you need to get a job. Any job. You can't just wait around for the perfect thing. I know. I will. Thank you. Seriously. You're the best. He hugged me. Quick, awkward, smelling like deodorant that was losing its battle with body odor. Then he stepped back, already reaching for his phone, already moving on. I let myself out. In my car, I sat with the engine running, heat blasting against the cold. I called the emergency maintenance number posted on a sign near the complex office. Left a message identifying myself as Ethan Chen's sister, asking for information about his account status. Then I called Mom. How is he? She answered, not even saying hello. He's fine. He owes $2,800 in back rent and late fees. Silence. Oh no. We gave him $800 just last month for bills. I closed my eyes. I'll handle it. Maya, you don't have to. It's fine. I'll take care of it. You're such a good sister. Such a good daughter. I don't know how we got so lucky with you. I was so tired of hearing that. I'll call you tomorrow, I said, and hung up before she could say anything else. I drove home at 12:40. Climbed back into bed at 1:15. Lay awake until 2:30, mind racing through calculations and conversations and a growing sense of something I couldn't quite name. My alarm went off at 5:30. I got up, showered, made coffee, printed the presentation materials, went to my 7 a.m. meeting. When you're good at holding things together, people forget you're holding anything at all. The landlord called me back at 8:30 a.m. I was in my car in the parking garage, stealing 15 minutes before my next meeting. His name was Ron. He sounded tired. Look, Miss Chin, I appreciate you reaching out. But this isn't the first time we've had issues with your brother. I understand. I'm not making excuses for him. I just want to understand the situation so we can resolve it. The situation is he's 2 months behind on rent. He's gotten multiple noise complaints. He broke the bathroom sink and never reported it, so now there's water damage to the unit below, and frankly, I've been more patient than I should have been because your parents seemed like nice people. Water damage. Ethan hadn't mentioned water damage. How much is the water damage repair? I'm still getting estimates. Probably another 1,000, maybe 1,500. For $1,000. Maybe 4,500. If I pay the back rent and late fees today, can we work out a payment plan for the damages? Ron sighed. Miss Chin, I appreciate what you're trying to do. But your brother needs to be the one handling this. He's the tenant. I know. You're right. But he's going through a difficult time, and I just want to help stabilize things so he can get back on his feet. Is he looking for work? Yes. Because the last 3 times I've stopped by during business hours, he's been home playing video games. I felt my jaw tighten. I'll talk to him. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you've talked to him before. Look, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I've been a landlord for 20 years. I can spot the patterns. He's got a safety net, and as long as he's got that safety net, he's not going to change. So what are you saying? I'm saying you can pay his rent this month, and next month, and the month after that. But eventually, you're going to get tired. And when that happens, it's going to be worse for everyone. I'll send you a check today, I said. He was quiet for a moment. Then, make it out to Riverside Property Management. I'll email you the total with late fees. Thank you. Don't thank me, Miss Chen. I'm not doing anyone a favor here. He hung up. I sat in my car watching other people walk to their offices, carrying coffee cups and laptop bags, living their normal lives. I wondered if any of them had driven across town at midnight. If any of them were about to transfer $4,000 they'd never see again. The email from Ron came through. $4,200, accounting for late fees and the first month's estimate on water damage repair, with the rest to be determined. I opened my banking app, moved money from savings to checking, set up the payment. My savings account balance dropped by $4,200 in an instant. I looked at the number for a long time. Then I went back to work. I didn't tell Ethan I'd paid. I thought maybe if he didn't know, he'd panic enough to actually handle it himself. Maybe he'd call the landlord, work something out, take responsibility. He didn't call. 2 days later, Mom called me. The landlord called your father this morning. He said everything's been taken care of? Did you? Yes. Oh, Maya. Her voice went soft. Grateful. You didn't have to do that. It's done. How much was it? I hesitated. 4,000. She gasped. Actually gasped. $4,000? Maya, we can't let you pay that. We'll pay you back. It's fine. It's not fine. That's so much money. We'll figure something out. We'll talk to Ethan about paying you back in installments. Mom, it's fine. Really. I just want him to be okay. Silence. Then, quieter. You've always taken such good care of your brother. I didn't know what to say to that. He's lucky to have you, she continued. We're all lucky to have you. I know you work so hard, and you're so responsible, and sometimes I worry we take advantage of that. But you're just so capable, you know? You make it look so easy. Easy. I thought about the midnight drive. The conversation with Ron. The $4,200 that had taken me months to save. I have to go, I said. Meeting starting. Okay, sweetie. Thank you. Really. You're an angel. I hung up and stared at my computer screen until the words came back into focus. 3 weeks passed. I didn't hear from Ethan. No thank you. No acknowledgement. Nothing. I told myself that was fine. I hadn't done it for gratitude. I'd done it because that's what you do for family. But somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispered, would he do the same for you? I knew the answer. I'd always known the answer. On a Wednesday evening, I was making dinner when Mom called again. Maya, I'm so sorry to bother you. My stomach dropped. What happened? It's Ethan. His car broke down, and he needs it for his job interview tomorrow, and the mechanic is saying it'll be $900, and we just don't have that right now. We've been helping him with groceries and… Did you call him about getting a job? He's trying, sweetheart. This interview is really promising. It's for a sales position, good benefits, and he's so excited about it. Has he been applying to other places too? I think so. But this one is the best opportunity. If he could just get his car fixed. Mom. She went quiet. I can't, I said. Silence. I just paid his rent. $4,000. 3 weeks ago. I know, and we're so grateful. I can't keep doing this. More silence. Different now. I could feel her recalibrating, trying to figure out how to navigate this unfamiliar territory. I never said no. I never pushed back. Maya, it's $900. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's his future. This job could change everything for him. He's had other jobs. He quit them. Those weren't the right fit. What job will be the right fit, Mom? I don't understand why you're being like this. Like what? Cold. Unsupportive. He's your brother. Something sharp twisted in my chest. I drove across town at midnight for him. I paid his rent. I've been bailing him out for years. And we appreciate that. We do. But this is different. This is an investment in his future. It's always an investment in his future. Maya. Her voice hardened. I know you're stressed with work. I know you're tired. But family helps family. That's what we do. I am helping. Then help with this. I stood in my kitchen, wooden spoon in hand, sauce simmering on the stove, and felt something crack open inside me. Not anger. Something quieter than anger. Something that had been building for years. I need to think about it, I said. The interview is tomorrow. I said I need to think about it. I hung up. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She called again. I turned my phone to silent. I finished making dinner. Ate it alone at my small dining table, looking out at the city lights through my apartment window. Thought about $900. About job interviews. About whether this time would be different. It wouldn't be different. I knew it wouldn't be different. But if I said no, I'd be the one who ruined his chance. I'd be the one who didn't believe in him. I'd be the cold, unsupportive older sister who chose money over family. If you've ever been in a family situation like this, you'll understand why this moment mattered to me. It wasn't about the $900. It was about every time before this. Every rescue. Every crisis. Every expectation that I would simply handle it. At 9 p.m., I transferred $900 to Ethan's account. He texted 15 minutes later. Thanks, sis. You're a lifesaver. That was it. No call. No real conversation. Just those 5 words. I stared at the text for a long time. Then I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my couch in the dark, thinking about what Ron the landlord had said. He's got a safety net. As long as he's got that safety net, he's not going to change. The job interview didn't pan out. Ethan said they wanted someone with more sales experience. Said it was corporate bullshit, that he'd actually interviewed really well, that they probably had an internal candidate lined up anyway. Mom relayed this to me over Sunday dinner at their house, shaking her head sadly. He was so disappointed. He really thought this was the one. Dad nodded, chewing his pot roast. Tough market out there. I cut my meat into smaller pieces. Has he applied anywhere else? I think so. He doesn't tell us everything. You know how he is. Yes. I knew how he was. Well, something will come through, Dad said. He's a smart kid. Just needs the right opportunity. He was 28. Not a kid. He's always been a late bloomer, Mom added. Remember how worried we were when he struggled in high school? And then he turned it around. He hadn't turned it around. He'd barely graduated. I'd spent countless nights helping him with homework, basically doing his assignments for him while he played video games in the next room. Maya turned out so driven, Dad said, smiling at me. Always knew what she wanted. Straight path. I smiled back. Said nothing. Ethan's just more creative, Mom said. More artistic. He needs work that feeds his soul, not just a paycheck. I thought about the $4,200. The $900. All the smaller amounts over the years. Apparently, my soul didn't need feeding. Just my bank account needed draining. Speaking of which, Dad said, we wanted to talk to you about something. I set down my fork. Your brother's lease is up in 3 months, Mom said. And with everything that's happened, we're wondering if maybe he should move back home for a little while. Just until he gets stable. Okay. They looked surprised that I agreed so easily. The thing is, Dad continued, we're planning to do that European trip. The one we've been saving for. We'd be gone for 6 weeks. I waited. And we were thinking, Mom said, maybe Ethan could stay at your place while we're gone. just so he's not alone in the house. You know how he gets. There it was. My apartment is small, I said carefully. He wouldn't take up much space. He could sleep on the couch. I work from home 2 days a week. I need quiet for calls. He'd be respectful. And it's only 6 weeks. When are you leaving? 2 months. Early June. I looked down at my plate. The pot roast was good. Mom had always been a good cook. She'd taught me her recipes, patiently walking me through each step. She'd tried to teach Ethan too, but he'd never been interested. Let me think about it, I said. Mom's expression tightened. What's there to think about? I just need to consider the logistics. Maya, he's your brother. We're not asking you to move him in permanently. Just 6 weeks. And I said I'll think about it. The table went silent. Dad cleared his throat. Well, no rush. You've got time to decide. But the way Mom looked at me said there was a rush. Said I was being difficult. Said good daughters, good sisters, didn't need time to think about helping family. I finished my dinner. Helped clean up. Left earlier than usual, citing work I needed to finish. In the car, I sat in their driveway for a few minutes, watching the house where I'd grown up. The light in Ethan's old bedroom, my old bedroom too, though it was always called the kids' room and decorated with his posters, his interests, was on. He'd moved back in 2 weeks ago, though no one had explicitly told me. I just noticed his car in the driveway. I wondered if they'd asked him to contribute to groceries or utilities. I already knew the answer. Over the next 2 weeks, Mom called 3 times asking if I'd made a decision about Ethan staying with me. Each time, I said I was still thinking. Each time, her voice got a little colder. On the 3rd call, she said, You know, Maya, your father and I have always tried not to show favoritism. We love you both equally. I know. But sometimes I wonder if you resent your brother. The accusation hung in the air. I don't resent him. It feels like you do. Like you're punishing him for having a harder time. I'm not punishing anyone. I just need to think about what works for my life. What works for your life? She repeated it slowly, like the words were foreign. You have a good job. A nice apartment. You're stable. Your brother is struggling. And you need to think about what works for your life. Mom, you know what I think? I think you've forgotten what it's like to need help. Everything's always come easy to you. That knocked the air out of me. Easy. I have to go, I said. Maya, wait. I hung up. Sat in my office, hands shaking slightly, staring at my computer screen without seeing anything. Everything's always come easy to you. I thought about the years of perfect grades while working part-time jobs. The scholarships I'd hunted down and applied for over and over. The unpaid internships I'd suffered through. The entry-level position where I'd worked 60-hour weeks to prove myself. The careful budgeting, the sacrifice of social life, the nights spent studying and planning and building. Easy. I thought about Ethan's high school graduation party, where I'd been away at college. When I came home for summer break, Mom had shown me the photos. The cake, the decorations, the relatives. Then she'd said, casually, we used your college fund to pay for it. You had that scholarship anyway, so we figured you didn't need it. I'd needed it for living expenses. For books. For professional clothes for interviews. I'd taken out loans instead. Easy. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Mom said you're being weird about me staying at your place. What's the deal? I stared at the message. Another text. It's just 6 weeks. Not a big deal. Another, whatever. Guess I'll figure something else out. I turned my phone face down on my desk and went back to work. That evening, my best friend Lauren called. I need a rant session, she said without preamble. Please. Distract me. Okay. So my sister, you remember how she borrowed my car last month and returned it with an empty tank? Yeah. She just asked to borrow it again. For a weekend trip. With her new boyfriend. Who I've never met. What did you say? I said no. And now my mom is calling me selfish. I laughed, but it sounded bitter. Family seems to think we're personal ATMs and taxi services. Oh God, what did yours do now? I told her everything. The rent payment. The car repair. The request to house Ethan for 6 weeks. My mother's comment about things coming easy to me. Lauren was quiet for a long moment. Maya, you know I love you. Oh, you need to stop. Stop what? Fixing everything for him. He's my brother. He's a 28-year-old man who's never had to face real consequences because you keep catching him. If I don't help him, no one will. Good. I blinked. What? Good. Let no one help him. Let him figure it out. You think you're helping, but you're not. You're enabling. That's harsh. Is it? How many times has he paid you back for anything? How many times has he even said thank you properly? How many times has he changed his behavior after you've saved him? I didn't answer. Maya, you're one of the smartest people I know. You wouldn't tolerate this from anyone else. If a friend constantly borrowed money and never paid you back, what would you do? That's different. Why? Because family is supposed to help each other. Help, yes. Enable, no. There's a difference. I sat with that. Turned it over in my mind. What if something really bad happens, I said quietly. What if I stop helping and he ends up homeless or... Then he'll figure it out. Like adults do. Like you figured out everything in your life. You're not responsible for his choices. My parents will never forgive me. Your parents are part of the problem. They've always treated you two differently. You know that. I did know that. I'd always known that. When you were in college, Lauren continued, working 2 jobs and taking a full course load. What was Ethan doing? Community college. Part-time. Did he work? Sometimes. Who paid his tuition? My parents. Who paid yours? Scholarships. Loans. Me. And they still act like everything came easy to you. I closed my eyes. I don't know what to do. I think you do know. You just don't want to do it because it feels mean. It does feel mean. That's because you're a good person. But Maya, being good doesn't mean being a doormat. It doesn't mean sacrificing yourself so others can avoid discomfort. We talked for another hour. About boundaries. About self-worth. About the difference between supporting someone and carrying them. After we hung up, I sat in my quiet apartment and thought about everything. I thought about Ron the landlord saying, eventually, you're going to get tired. I thought about my mother saying, everything's always come easy to you. I thought about Ethan texting, thanks sis. You're a lifesaver, and then immediately asking for more. I thought about the money. Not just the $4,200 and the $900, but all the money over the years. The smaller amounts that seemed insignificant at the time. The birthday and Christmas gifts I'd bought for family members on his behalf because he forgot or didn't have time to shop. The security deposit I'd co-signed 3 years ago that I'd ended up paying when he broke his lease early. I pulled up my banking records and started calculating. The total, over the past 5 years alone, was $23,000. $23,000. I sat back, staring at the number. That was a year's worth of retirement contributions. That was a down payment on a house. That was emergency savings for a year of unemployment. That was gone. And my family thought everything came easy to me. I made a decision that night. Not an angry decision. Not a vengeful one. Just a clear, calm decision. I wasn't going to argue with anyone. I wasn't going to explain myself repeatedly. I wasn't going to justify my boundaries or prove that I'd done enough. I was simply going to stop. The next morning, I texted Ethan. I won't be able to have you stay at my apartment while Mom and Dad are traveling. I need my space for work. I'm sure you'll find something else. He responded immediately, are you serious? I didn't reply. Another text, where am I supposed to go? I turned off my phone and went to work. Mom called that evening. I let it go to voicemail. She called again the next morning. I let it go to voicemail. The third time I answered. Maya, we need to talk about your brother. Okay. He told us you refused to let him stay with you. That's correct. Silence. She'd expected me to explain, to apologize, to backtrack. Why? Because I need my space for work. My apartment is small, and I work from home regularly. It wouldn't work. You worked from home during the pandemic. Lots of people managed with roommates. I'm not willing to do it. Not willing. She repeated it slowly. So you're capable. You just don't want to help your brother. I've helped my brother a lot. I'm not able to do this particular thing. Maya, I don't understand what's gotten into you. This isn't like you. Maybe you don't know what I'm like. That stopped her. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm always the one who helps. I'm always the one who steps in. And no one ever asks if I need help. No one ever considers what I'm dealing with. That's not true. We consider you. When was the last time you asked how I was doing? Really asked. Not just, how's work, but actually wanted to know. Silence. You're being unfair, she said finally. Am I? Yes. We're proud of you. We brag about you all the time. You're successful, you're independent. And Ethan needs help, so I'm supposed to provide it. He's family. So am I. Maya, what is this really about? Are you jealous? Is that what this is? I almost laughed. Jealous of what? Of the attention he gets. I know we've had to focus on him more because he struggles, but that doesn't mean we love you less. I don't think you love me less. I think you take me for granted. That's not fair. When I was in college, you used my college fund for Ethan's graduation party. You had a scholarship. I needed that money. I took out loans because of that. We didn't know. You didn't ask. Another long silence. I think you need to examine why you're bringing up things from years ago, Mom said, her voice tight. It sounds like you're holding grudges. I'm not holding grudges. I'm recognizing patterns. Patterns. Yes. Patterns where Ethan makes mistakes and I fix them. Where Ethan needs money and I provide it. Where Ethan needs a place to stay and I'm expected to offer it. We don't expect. You called me at 11:30 at night because his landlord called you. You didn't call him first. You called me. Because you're reliable. Because I'm convenient. Maya, that's incredibly hurtful. Is it? Or is it true? I heard her take a shaky breath. I don't know who you are right now. I'm the same person I've always been. You're just noticing me for the first time. If you won't help your brother, then I don't know what to say to you. You don't have to say anything. I'm not asking for a conversation. I'm just setting a boundary. A boundary. Is that what we're calling it now? Yes. Well, I hope you're happy with your boundary. I hope it keeps you warm when you've alienated your whole family. She hung up. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the silence. I waited for the guilt to crush me. It didn't come. Instead, I felt something else. Something lighter. Like I'd put down a weight I'd been carrying so long I'd forgotten it was there. Dad called 2 days later. His approach was different. Softer. Maya, honey, your mother is really upset. I know. She feels like you're pulling away from the family. I'm setting boundaries. I understand that. But Ethan, he's having a hard time. He's always looked up to you. That almost made me laugh. Dad, Ethan has never looked up to me. He's looked past me. To you and Mom. Because he knows you'll fix everything. That's not true. When was the last time he called me just to talk? Not to ask for something. Just to check in. Dad was quiet. Exactly, I said. You're right that he could be better about that. But he's young. He's 28. And he's finding his way. We all mature at different speeds. You were always ahead of your years. That's not his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm saying it's not my responsibility to compensate for it. No one's asking you to compensate. Dad. Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're asking. He sighed. Your mother and I have worked very hard to treat you both fairly. Have you? Yes. I wanted to argue. I wanted to list every instance of unequal treatment. Every time Ethan got the benefit of the doubt while I got held to higher standards. Every time his failures were excused while my successes were expected. But what would that accomplish? I love you both, Dad said. You know that. I do. And I'm asking you, as your father, to reconsider. Your mother's trip means a lot to her. We've been planning it for years. And knowing Ethan is at your place would give us peace of mind. What about my peace of mind? Maya. Dad, I've paid over $20,000 of Ethan's expenses in the last 5 years. I've driven across town at midnight. I've covered his rent, his car repairs, his bills. I've done more than my share. Silence. I didn't know it was that much, he said quietly. Because no one asks. Everyone just assumes I'm fine. That I'm handling everything. That I don't need anything. Do you need something? The question surprised me. What? You're right. We don't ask. So I'm asking. Do you need something? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I need you to stop expecting me to fix Ethan's life. More silence. That's what I need, I continued. I need you to let him face consequences. I need you to stop treating me like a backup plan. I need you to see that I work hard and sacrifice and plan, and it's not magic. It's not luck. It's not easy. I never said it was easy. Mom did. She didn't mean. She said everything's always come easy to me. While I'm paying your son's rent with money I earned working overtime. While I'm bailing him out again and again. That's what she thinks. That's what you both think. Maya, that's not. We're so proud of you. Are you? Or are you just relieved I don't need anything? He didn't answer. I'm not refusing to help Ethan because I'm mean, I said. I'm refusing because I've helped enough. Because helping has become enabling. And I can't watch him fail anymore without consequences. He's your brother. And I love him. But I can't save him. No one can save him but himself. Dad was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was rough. When did you get so wise? I've always been this wise, Dad. You just never noticed because I was too busy fixing things. Another pause. Then, I'll talk to your mother. Thank you. But Maya, you're right. About a lot of things. And I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. I felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement. Finally. I appreciate that. We'll figure something out. For our trip. For Ethan. It's not your problem. Okay. After we hung up, I sat in my living room and cried. Not sad tears. Not angry tears. Just release. Years of holding on, finally letting go. Ethan called 3 days later. Maya. Ethan. So, Mom and Dad are pretty pissed at you. I know. They're making me get a job. Like, any job. Dad said if I don't have something by next week, I'm out. Good. He laughed. Bitter. Good. That's all you have to say. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Maybe that you're sorry for screwing everything up. I didn't screw anything up. You refused to let me stay with you. Now I'm scrambling to find a place and a job and Mom's not talking to you and Dad's being weird and… Ethan, stop. He stopped. I've paid $23,000 of your expenses over the last 5 years. I've driven across town at midnight. I've covered your rent, your car, your mistakes. I've done everything I can to help you. I didn't ask you to. Yes, you did. Every time you called. Every time you texted. Every time Mom called on your behalf because you wouldn't answer your phone. Silence. I'm not doing it anymore, I said. Not because I don't love you, but because it's not helping. It's never helped. So what? You're just done with me? I'm done fixing your problems. I'm not done with you. What's the difference? The difference is I'll have dinner with you. I'll talk to you. I'll be your sister. But I won't pay your rent. I won't bail you out. I won't be your safety net. He was quiet for a long time. Then, you sound like a therapist. Maybe I should have been talking to one all along. Are you? Talking to one? Yes. About what? About boundaries. About family patterns. About why I thought my worth was tied to how much I could give. More silence. I never thought about it like that, he said finally. That you were. I don't know. Hurting yourself to help me. I know you didn't. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting that. What? I'm sorry. For taking advantage. For not seeing it. For being a shitty brother. My throat tightened. You're not a shitty brother. Kinda am though. You're a brother who needs to figure things out. And I can't do that for you. Yeah, I'm starting to get that. We sat in silence for a moment. Not uncomfortable. Just quiet. I got a job, he said. At a warehouse. Night shift. It's not glamorous, but it pays. That's good, Ethan. And I'm looking at a room for rent. It's small, but it's cheap. I can actually afford it with this job. I'm proud of you. Don't be proud yet. I haven't even started. I'm proud that you're trying. Another pause. Then, can we have dinner sometime? Like, when things calm down with Mom. I'd like that. Okay. I'll text you. Okay. After we hung up, I realized I was smiling. Actually smiling. Not the tight, practiced smile I wore when dealing with family crises. A real one. Mom didn't call for 3 weeks. During that time, I focused on myself. I went to therapy. I reconnected with friends I'd been neglecting. I took a weekend trip to the coast, just me and a book and the sound of waves. I added the $4,200 and the $900 to a mental tally of things I'd done. Not with resentment. Just acknowledgement. I'd helped when I could. I'd given what I had. And now I was choosing differently. When Mom finally called, I almost didn't answer. But I did. Maya. Hi, Mom. Your father and I would like you to come to dinner. Sunday, if you're free. Okay. Ethan will be there too. We thought it might be good for all of us to talk. That sounds fine. Maya. Her voice cracked slightly. I owe you an apology. I waited. I've been thinking a lot. About what you said. About taking you for granted. About the college fund. About a lot of things. Okay. And you were right. I didn't see how hard you were working. I didn't see how much you were sacrificing. I just saw that you were handling everything, and I stopped looking closer. I appreciate you saying that. Will you come to dinner? Yes. Thank you. Sunday dinner was different. Ethan showed up in his warehouse uniform, straight from a shift. He looked tired but alert. Present. Mom had cooked my favorite meal, not just the usual pot roast. She'd made an effort. We sat around the table, the four of us, and for the first time in years, no one asked me to fix anything. Dad asked about my work. Actually listened to the answer. Mom asked about my life. What I'd been doing. How I'd been feeling. Ethan talked about his new job. The coworkers he'd met. The room he'd rented. He seemed nervous but determined. I'm paying Maya back, he said suddenly, looking at his plate. It's going to take a while, but I made a payment plan. $100 a month. It's not much, but... Ethan, you don't have to. Yeah, I do. I tallied up what I owe you. It's more than I thought. A lot more. And I'm going to pay you back. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And saw something I hadn't seen before. Accountability. Awareness. Okay, I said. Thank you. Mom reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm sorry it took us so long to understand. Me too, Dad added. You deserved better from us. I felt tears prick my eyes. Not sad tears. Something else. Relief. Recognition. I love you all, I said. I just needed you to see me. We see you now, Mom said quietly. 3 months later, Ethan sent me a Venmo payment. $100. With a note. First installment. Thanks for everything. I stared at the notification for a long time. Then I saved it to a folder on my phone labeled Progress. Not because I needed the money, but because it meant something had changed. Not just in him. In all of us. He continued to pay me every month. He kept his warehouse job. He enrolled in a certification program. He called me sometimes, just to talk, not to ask for anything. Mom and Dad took their European trip. Ethan stayed in his rented room. He survived without me. And I learned something I should have known all along. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is let them fall. Let them figure it out. Let them grow. When you spend your whole life being the one everyone relies on, it's hard to stop. It feels like abandonment. It feels cruel. But it's not. It's giving them the space to become who they're supposed to be. And giving yourself the space to breathe. I still help my family sometimes. But now they ask. They don't assume. They don't expect. And when I say no, they respect it. That's not coldness. That's not selfishness. That's just finally understanding that love isn't the same as sacrifice. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop saving someone who needs to learn to save themselves. If stories like this feel familiar, you're not alone. There are more stories like mine here. Stories about the quiet moments when everything changes. About the decisions we make when no one's watching. About finding your voice in a family that's learned not to hear it. You don't have to keep holding everything together. Sometimes, letting go is the strongest thing you can do.